Welcome to CathyDSlaught's SRC4u Zoom call for January 6, 2022. We're here on Cathy's website, CathyDSlaght.com. To access the Zoom call, we will scroll down and look for this Zoom banner. If you would like to be part of Cathy's SRC4u Daily Energy Clearing Group, the information's here. Just click through. If you'd like to follow Cathy on her posts on Twitter, you can click through to here, and this will take you over to her Twitter account where you can subscribe and be notified when she has a post, or just come over to the website and look through the little app here we've installed on her website. We're going to click through here to go over to the Zoom platform, where I'll click to open up the app, and the call will be live, so you may want to lower the volume on your speakers.
Let me show you where we finished up yesterday. Ego, true self. Just take that down. And an interesting experience, when you've done, as you all have done, I know too, this energy work for so long, if you get a little instinct or intuition, you follow it. And I got this very strong instinct this morning. We've been working on the colon health because we did that huge list, AIDS to pathology. And we had two mentions of intestines, and many believe that your colon, intestines, how you call them, that's the core to many, many health problems. So we've been working on that. And it's kind of funny. I've gotten some calls from people saying they have not wanted to leave their commode or be too far from their commode because they're feeling some of this work. I got a kick out of it. But, and these are people not on the Zoom, just in the group. So that was rather entertaining. But I got this strong thought that because our work is so subtle, it is absolutely, we could take the same scan in a few minutes and get a different response. So I thought, let's see, now that I think a number of people may have made some changes in reference to eating, maybe they're drinking the water, et cetera, et cetera. It's a work in progress. Intermittent fasting, they say, is very good to clear some of this colon stress. Not eating so much processed food, et cetera, et cetera. So I got to thinking, well, if we're taking some steps and that information was so subtle anyway, let me do another scan. And that's where I discovered that my Excel spreadsheet isn't quite working. So I went through and I just got the zeros, which was no big deal. Now I have to have Derek come back and show me what the problem is. But I want to show you those zeros in a new direction we're going to take that I guess I hadn't planned on. The zeros. This is for bones right here. And it relates to liposomal overloading, which is about our neurons, and also some behavior anomalies. And I went through each of these. Here's a code, the death of neurons, neuronal death. We can do without that. And we already know that the more information pull in, the closer the neurons get to each other, and that raises your voltage, and voltage is consciousness. So you're going to see here, we've got a theme, and you'll see why in a minute, calcification. Let's just go ahead and hit the wonder click. And as we go down this list, let's add some of these codes. Okay. Let's just see what kind of a boost our neurons could use. All right. But that was just a 10% priorities. I had put in here priority for Qi, clear stress-related neurons, just a 10%. The next one was excessive buildup of calcification. And you can see here, and I tried to make this a little bigger earlier. I kind of made it too big, but you can see, there you go. 99%, that's going to be our next direction, is calcification. And so let's just go ahead and again, So you can see this is a good thing to receive this code, but there is, with it being at a 99, a little bit of stress. And that's when you see what we're going to talk about, that certainly is understandable. Let's see if a Shen. Remember, the code is a good thing. The term isn't. About a 60. About a charge. Yeah, we'll take a charge on that, so let's do that. Wake our fields up. Two minutes. Anyway, so that's our priority. As you can see, 99% priority. And now this was an interesting one, cross reactions. This may deal with what's going on with the vaccine. This is up to everybody to do their own research. But that's when something doesn't work out the way you thought it. Reactions outside the main reaction expected. And in immunology, it seems to be related to the antibodies, the antigens, and not what they're expecting. Now, there is a 52% priority to clear stress related to this, but we'll do that down the road. But I found that interesting. Here was another thing. This is not exactly a joy to see. Superimposed thrombosis, and this is plaque rupture. And this causes 90% of the myocardial, which we are seeing an increase in. Whether or not it's due to the vaccine, do your own research. But we are seeing this. So again, I went in here, priority for cheat, clear this, nope, just a 6%. Get up there. Then this autoimmune skin condition. And again, we know what we've studied, those of us who've studied it, the autoimmune seems to be a factor as far as stress related to the vaccine, but it's a 15% priority. Then we have tumors, and that is, again, it goes into a little strangeness here, star-shaped shells that relate to the brain, actually. We've got a 74% clear stress related to that, so we certainly will work on that next. Hypertension from adrenals, only a 15% priority. This was interesting. Abnormal effects of birth control pills, 44% priority. This was interesting, these crystals. And you're going to see how that ties in a minute. This ties into the kidney stones and kidney disease, and that is an 81%, but I think you're going to see working on the calcification will also make a difference here energetically. We have deposits in the respiratory tract, so the priority for that is 80%. And of course, again, we see these things, you have to remember, which I know this group does, this probably is why we don't want to have always these notes on there. This is etheric. We can go in, for example, you noticed we had some pretty serious things related to the colon that came up in that first scan, and with the second, nothing about the colon came up. So just the slight work we did, and especially if anybody worked on their diet, that was in the subtle bodies. We're working with the subtle bodies, not the physical. So we see malignant liver tumor, which certainly, ordinarily you'd look at that and say, oh my God, but not really, because it's in our field, which includes perhaps some energy from the collective. We do have a 43% priority, but we're going to check all that once we work on calcification for a few days, because it looks like calcification is the root source of just about any illness you can think of, from serious to mundane. As an example, cataracts. Okay, so we're going to take that code and we're taking it all the way up to the 102. Tuberculosis, just a priority of 7%. And then we have a form of tuberculosis related to the I can't say it. Somebody say it for me. Anyway, this was not a big priority, just 8%. So what stands out and what jumps out is calcification, and why they say we're sicker than we've ever been before. And this is what's interesting. I got a YouTube last night from someone that it's very unusual YouTube because it involves off-planet. But the final conclusion of the YouTube is that we can solve every problem on Earth by each of us raising our own voltage. And that even just one person raising their voltage impacts so many. And instead of being upset and living in fear and focusing on all these things we don't want, to focus on what can raise our voltage. And one of the things, it says calcification has turned us into a positive electromagnetic charge. We want to be negative. So we want to bring in positive immune supporting and anti-inflammatory forces to support our voltage. Now let's just see how we look with that. Okay, we'll take it, and we have a little chronic stress related to that. No? No, that's not quite it. Now for the Pro Tools, you'll see in a minute, we requested the sustenance balancer, which we're working on every day anyway. Let's see if we want to add that to it. All right. So I'll do that later. That will go in the sustenance balancer. Let's look at the emotions too. Well, it's close. Let's just pull that up. You can see that's what we're asking for today. Let's just put, at this point, stress related to calcification, or even just calcification. So here's our stress at this moment in time with that now. So here's the interesting thing. We talked the other day about all the false information that has been programmed into us, and even by the mainstream, like this stuff about evolution that they've taught on the college level for all these years. When they came up with new data, a number of the professors would not teach it. They refused. So along that line, it turns out it has never been proven that we build bone out of calcium. Here you got it, magnesium, silica, and to some degree phosphorus. So the calcification, they say, is behind nearly every health condition. It's mainly environmental through our water. They also found a calcium component behind every infection. And we'll get into the nanobacteria maybe down the road. This involves, where apparently, this makes things interesting. And again, we're working on raising our voltage. But if you're eating processed food, they're going to be using tap water, aren't they, to make it? And so there's some things we want to do energetically. I still say we have a tool for everything we need, but we have to have that awareness to do it. This is very interesting. My daughter, and I call her in this group, She Who Knows All, she decided she would go on calcium supplements, which I think we all know you don't want to do that. They're made out of chalk. What you should be doing, this is according to David Wolf, take silica. And by the way, this might not be a bad site. Instead of looking at some of the horrific other sites with bad news, you might want to focus on this kind of thing. That's a pretty interesting site. Instead of taking calcium supplements, which are creating more problems, we want to go to our food sources, broccoli and kale. But the milk drinkers, it turns out if it's pasteurized, homogenized milk, that adds to the problem. Now here's an interesting command. Remember the power of these things. And we could let's just go in here and see about how that works out. Dissolve, calcification. Again, see, that's going to, yeah.
I've heard that something that contributes to calcification is when the parathyroid is out of whack, because then it begins to leach calcium out of your bones, and then it's sort of free floating in your system.
And that could be, or it could be the other side. It could be that the calcification throws the parathyroid out of whack. That's a good comment. So let's go to stress-related.
Well, since I've dealt with having my thyroid removed, I can vouch for both things you guys are sharing.
Okay. Let's look at stress-related to this. Yeah, and we do ask, and not just the group, but individuals all the time for balancing of the glands, recharging the glands. Look at that. Okay, look at that stress. It's low for the group, but it might be significant for the people in general. Now here's a few codes, but again, as we know, just the codes on their own are not going to do it. We've got to make some changes in other things, other areas. And let's add that in. It's a little bit of a more chronic stress. No.
What may I ask, what is horsetail?
Where did you see that? Do I have it on there? That's funny. That is actually, I added that just to remind myself to mention it. They say that another experiment, it looks like a few experiments are done with us from time to time for whatever reason. and we've got all these female-wise, all these hormone replacement things, and you might want to research horsetail because it looks like that's better than any of them.
Horsetail is an herb.
Yeah. And the Chinese have worked with horsetail for, several thousand years.
It's an organic form of silica.
Okay, thank you.
Wow.
So this would be, anyway, all of this just relates to calcification, and we're looking at subtle energy, we're looking at the etheric field, but when you really start looking into this, if you're taking calcium supplements, you might want to revisit that. Looks like silica, even horsetail. Just douse that in. Big factor in stone formation, and I understand you don't ever want to go through a kidney stone. Let me just do that one. Then this is proactive. And some say a kidney stone is worse than what you go through with childbirth without the beautiful reward afterwards. Okay, so we're as a group, that's not a major factor. Here's the
that.
Oh boy, okay. Silica. And again, you want to do your own research for all of this. We're talking subtle energy, but it looks like diet is a factor. And talking with somebody the other day, as you all know, even a little package of organic blueberries costs more than an entire Happy Meal. So you can see the direction a lot of people have gone. Here's the horsetail. So I thought we were going to go into looking at phlegm, and Kevin sent some wonderful information yesterday, and we will. And I thought maybe we better take a look at this first, based on our numbers. We need to get the information, then we can study it ourselves. That's the true definition, as we all know, of science, is to take something you don't believe and research it to prove you are right. And so now here's another interesting thing. MSM, which apparently is a benefit for dissolving calcium, and especially, I didn't put this in here, but if you combine it with other things like certain mushrooms. Again, you have to look up things also, just check. Now, this was a big one, and I don't know how we're going to go about that, because if you don't live in an area where you are free from the sprays on the lawns and so on and so forth, it's a little difficult to go barefooted, although you can go barefoot on concrete as well. Anything you can do, get grounded, which is apparently the calcification interferes with that. And again, there's a little stress to that at this moment in time. And this apparently all relates to consciousness, our voltage, which this is our whole focus of our work, is to raise our voltage. And there are diseases that are certain voltages we raise, etc. But this Let's just see if there's a benefit. This the calcium phosphate is what we're getting from the calcium supplements. Let's see the benefit of putting this in the Gong. See, so in this particular case, let's look at the sustenance balancer too. Okay, thank you. So you can see, it's beyond energetics to work with some of this. Let's go in here and see if we'd like the scheduler. Scheduler related to calcification stress. And look at that. All right, so we can all put something together on that. Maybe look at that tomorrow. But see, I'm really, now that I'm finally using this scheduler, I'm really impressed with it. So we'll see what we can do with that tomorrow. Meanwhile, let's go in here. See what we've got in reference to calcification. We have trauma, bones and marrow, which makes sense. There's that phlegm again, so we really are going to need to also make that a priority. Fungus, spiritual related stress, and all related to phlegm, so many levels. Trigger points, meridians, relationship issues. Is it possible that all the fussing and fighting we're seeing could actually be related to calcification? Anybody?
I think it makes a lot of sense, Cathy.
It's at least possible. Let's look at some of this stuff now that's coming up since we want the emotion panel. Let's just look at relationship issues. Okay, so there we go. Let's look at phlegm. There's that large intestine, which we've been focused on. Look, there's the parathyroid. Here's this purse thing. We do need to look at that a little bit too. Get that in here. Bones and marrow. Okay, so again, we see all subtle. There's fungus. Look at that. Many people that I've listened to believe that especially Candida has a consciousness, and it can affect your thoughts, etc. Up to all of us to just study that on our own. And there's that virus. Look at the spiritual attack, and it comes up as spiritual attack. We don't know exactly how to define that, but the information is there, and we can work to de-stress it. Emotional. Obviously, inflammation. Here's our vitamin balance. Yeah. Oh, well, so much for that. We just balanced all that out. That's wonderful. Let's see what else we have. This mouth has been coming up. We might want to all look into that, closer. Working on virus. By the way, I had ordered that Thomas Cohen book, whatever it was called, Myth, and it never came. So he's totally blocked.
Can you get that on Scribe?
It's not yet. Well, I haven't looked in the last couple of days. He's got his other books there. Some of them, not all of them. But yeah, there's the lymph, which we know in reference to our circulation, etc. Drinking that water first thing every morning may be a positive. Digestive, prostate, brain. This is an interesting restitution as a defensive action. Elizabeth, would you say that again, please?
Sure. We're talking about the benefits of drinking water first thing in the morning.
Yes.
I've heard that what's particularly beneficial is drinking water in the morning that has apple cider vinegar and baking soda in it.
Yeah, that'd be another interesting thing to research. What I've read says just do the water. However, something that interests me, because I'm so interested in these healing baths, is the apple cider vinegar in the bath water. And I just haven't taken the time yet to look into that more. But yeah, the apple cider vinegar is phenomenal for so many things.
I noticed when I did it, what happened immediately is that I burped about 3 times. That I was releasing acid.
Wow. Okay, thank you for that. Well, this looks pretty good. Blessed. Let's just go ahead and douse that in, which we are blessed. It's a matter of connecting with that energy. It's all around us. Looking good. Fear of a vague, imaginary, or unknown origin. That's our ego. And remember, that's where we finished yesterday with stress related to the ego. Let's see where we are with that. We can put it in the emotions as well. Well, we're not showing a lot of stress at this moment in time as a group. There you go, that candida, or the resistance factor. And as I said, I've studied over the years that the candida actually has its own consciousness.
I've heard, although there are a lot of negative things that we've heard about Candida, I've also heard that, I don't know if anyone is familiar with, it's called New German Medicine or German New Medicine, one of the two.
I'm not.
It's a very, very interesting approach to just to dealing with health. And it really turns a lot of our Western theories, on their whatever it is, on their head or whatever. But I've heard that Candida is very helpful for sort of cleaning up debris in the body at the site of some sort of a disease issue.
It makes sense because we know there's a negative and positive to everything. That's
right. I really encourage anyone who has a little extra time to do a quick bit of research on German New Medicine. It really is amazing.
Okay, yeah. Can you have any links to send?
If you go on YouTube and just type
German New Medicine. Okay, thank you. 11 hours today to balance the nervous system. I like to throw that in. Now this again, aim inhibition is when you feel like you've got your goals, but you're just blocked. Optimism, looking good. A little stress related to sinus. Let's look at that.
I'm interested to see how you're using the emotion tool. I've never thought of putting in, physical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everything probably, again, speaking just in general terms, one of the root source causes of many of the things we can see in the physical body may be that certain emotions have thrown off the subtle bodies. So it's worth looking at. Now here's the next set of words to ponder. They say if you outlaw guns, only outlaws will have guns. Well, those are precisely the people who need them. So, who knows? A right brain activity, silence, wistful, wrath. Well, we can do without that. Let's just look at that. This is in reference to voltage, what we want to be aware of, and there's some stress related to. So there's the degeneration, psychic attack. There's loved. And then basically sarcose stress, which we've got some good scans for. May not need them. The Wonder Click is taking care of this stuff as far as my opinion, but the more information we can get, the better, so we can make our own lifestyle changes. So let's see. Let's just move in all that stuff. So we've got some of this spiritual stress we may be bringing in by our own emotions. I was talking with someone the other day about lying, and lying actually creates fissures in the aura. And this was someone in real estate, and that brought up because a lot of people in sales feel the need to, or end up lying, I should say, and it's destructive in every way. So again, we see that. One of the things we want to work with. Let's just do my first marriage. I was married to a phenomenal salesman. And when I found out that out of the 7 years he'd been running around for 4 of them, we divorced, and I went for therapy. And the lady, I only had to go 2 times. And first time she said, "Why'd you marry that loser?" Which I guess was an innovative approach back then. But secondly, she talked about that all salesmen lie. So I did the same thing when I got into real estate. I did not lie. And I would kid people. I'd say, if I ever have to tell you a lie, I'll have my assistant do it. So you just didn't do it, and it worked out very well. But that we see so often, especially, I guess, in sales. So we've got, again, here, a few more things. Let's just go, I don't know, just fix it and see what we've got. Oops. So we're working on our chakras, little wind stress. And I am never quite certain, Kevin, maybe you can enlighten us. What is this psychic covert? Anybody?
Hidden.
Just hidden, that's all. Okay. Okay, we can deal with that. So that is it for today. I'm going to work on a little bit of something with the scheduler in reference to calcification, and if we can make a few changes overall in our diet. And maybe I'm going to present this information to my daughter about the calcium supplements. She may study it, she may not. But most of us in here have known for a long time that the calcium supplementation is not a positive. So let's just see. Next, focus, phlegm. Let's just put stress related to phlegm. And we may not need to do these things. The software is programmed to deal with them, but let's just see. And not at this time. So we'll have to see what comes up next. But looks like that's it for today.
Okay, Kat. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Thanks.
thanks. Yeah.
Super, Cathy. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, you guys. Talk to you tomorrow.
Have a
Bye-bye.
great day.
Thank you.
Bye.
And expect
Bye.
great
Bye,
things.
everybody. This concludes the SRC4u Zoom call. Thank you for participating. We look forward to seeing you again. Till then, take care and be well.